Am I the astronaut for kissing someone and not feeling guilty for it? I know the title seems bad, but let me explain. I'm 23 and my fiance is 25, and we've been together for 5 and a bit years, and he asked me to marry him August of 2022. I found out that he had created a Snapchat over a year ago to talk to multiple girls and to cheat on me over text messages, and he sent and received pictures. Oof. One girl came up to me in the pub and told me everything in front of his mom, but I'd been through this 4 or 5 times with him already, and I felt numb and trapped in my relationship. If I got kicked out of the flat, I would have nowhere to go or probably have to stay on my mother's sofa, so I felt like the easier option was to stay with him. So we worked on the relationship, but every time that only lasts 2 months tops, and after 3 months, I ended up putting the ring back on, but I don't think I've ever fully got over it. What are you doing, OP? You literally just said that the only reason you're staying is so you don't have to sleep on your mom's couch. And now you're putting the ring back on? So last night when I went to a work Christmas event and the guy and I were quite drunk, we got close and he kissed me and I didn't stop it. He made me feel a way that I haven't felt in a long time and I didn't feel guilty about it, and that's why I'm confused. I don't know how to tell my partner. I and the other guy both confirmed over text message that it was a one-time thing, even though he said he wanted to do more. I believe it was all because he was drunk, and it was just a kiss. I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm still not feeling guilty. I just feel a bit like shit because I haven't told my fiance. And even though he's done me wrong multiple times, I've gone that step further and kissed somebody, and I feel like that would be the end of us, and I'm not sure if I could cope with that because I would have nowhere to go. That's the line. That's the line. I feel like that's not a good enough reason to stay with somebody, and understand that I just need advice on how I should go forward. I know I'm in the wrong, but am I the astronaut for not feeling guilty? The way I feel is just weird. That's the best that I can explain it. I would really appreciate some advice on this. Edit, when I found out that he cheated on me, his mom and my mom stuck up for him, so that didn't help, and I felt pressured to stay with him. Seriously, okay, they get red flags for that. 2 days after he went to work was the only time I acted crazy. I figured out his password to his Snapchat and saw that while he was at work, he carried on talking to another girl, and I sat there and watched the whole time. He works nights. We have an update. We have an update, but let's talk about this for a second because this is, okay, the question here initially was, am I the astronaut for kissing someone and not feeling guilty for it? I don't know if this applies to the whole you can't be an asshole for feeling something. Can you be an asshole for not feeling something too? But it's the action here. It's, am I the astronaut for kissing someone, even though you're engaged, OP? When Candy Thunder talks about those stages, and I've already forgotten what they are. What is it? Anger, resentment, indifference, something like that. You're indifferent now. He's been indifferent because he gives zero shits. And apparently, he's going to talk to as many girls as he wants to talk to. And you're not going to leave because you have nowhere else to go. And he knows that. So it's not going to stop him from doing anything. Also, if you think for a single red-blooded effing second that all he's done is talk to girls and you went a step further and kissed someone, if you think that he hasn't had any kind of physical interactions with any of these girls that he's been talking to, girl, come on. I know you're smarter than that. You just don't want to admit it to yourself because, and it always comes back to this, because you have no place to go. The only reason that you're sticking this out when you know it's wrong, when you know it's garbage, when you know you deserve better than that, is because you wouldn't have a place to stay. Tell me this. Being tortured every day and having a place to stay, is that better than sleeping on your mom's couch and not being tortured every day? Maybe there are reasons that you don't want to stay with your mom. The fact that your mom stood up for this brozo is not a good sign, which to me says that she doesn't want to deal with you. She doesn't want to have to deal with the burden of housing you here. So I don't, you know that this is wrong. You know that you don't want to stay in this relationship. This kiss sealed the deal for you. You're at indifference. The only reason you're staying and playing along now is so you have a place to stay. And that is not a good enough reason. You're right. It's not a good enough reason. It's not a reason at all. Find a roommate. Find something that doesn't put you in these kind of positions. I know that's easier said than done. So get a different roommate that doesn't have to pretend like they're in a relationship with you and treat you like shit. Update. Here we go. So I told him that someone kissed me on the night out. He wasn't happy about it, and he was asking me questions about how it happened and who kissed me. I told him everything. This was 2 days ago, and he's acting like nothing happened. When I found out about his cheating, I didn't want to look or touch him for a couple of weeks. I was a mess. After about 30 minutes of silence after I told him, he tried to make me laugh and grab my chest and was talking about having sex because I've been a naughty girl. I know, weird. So he got turned on by you messing around on him? Wow. I mean, people are into weird shit, I guess. So now I'm confused. Does he not care at all? I told him that we'll get Christmas out of the way and I'll sleep on the sofa and he will have the bed. It gives us both time to figure out what we're going to do living wise. I know I'll be the one to move out. We just need to figure out where. Why would you be the one to move out? Is the flat in his name, I'm assuming? I said to him that I didn't want to be in a relationship anymore, and his reply was, well, you're the one who's cheated, yet you're blaming me and bringing up the past? Again, if you think that all this brozo has done is talk to girls on Snapchat, I got some swampland in Florida I'd like to sell you. This is ridiculous. I think that was the most I got out of him. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice. I appreciate them all. I might give another update after Christmas if things change, but I'm pretty confident it's over for good. We were confident that it was over for good at the very beginning of this story. So hopefully you're caught up to that point now. Why are you so confident that would be him to move out and not you? Did you move into his place? And if so, that makes sense. I get it. But find a roommate. Find another situation that doesn't require you putting yourself in this kind of abusive relationship. And yes, I say abusive because this is what this is. He was only turned on when you finally got to the point where you messed around on him too. And I say too because the evidence that you found of him talking to other girls is just the tip of the iceberg. I was going to say just the tip. I probably shouldn't say just the tip, but now I've said it twice. The tip of the iceberg. There's more going on than that for sure. Which, by the way, we'll go ahead and give him this award. His actions, kind of like some of the other, or one of the other stories that we read earlier, indicate that he's done. And he was just too much of a coward to leave the relationship and wanted to force you to do it. Now he said that you're the cheater because you actually kissed someone. Whenever what he's done prior to this was way more emotional cheating. I would encourage you, because you have been in this abusive relationship to this point, I would encourage you to really protect your mental health here and commit to spending some time alone, to working on yourself, to making sure that you can be happy yourself without needing someone else there before jumping into anything with anybody else. Now, like flirting and stuff, it's fine, but don't move in with anybody. Don't get serious with anybody. Spend some time with just you and make sure that you're capable of it being just you. And I say that because right now you had yourself in a position where you had to stay with someone else because you had no other choice, right? That's a position you don't want to be in again, obviously. But even if it wasn't a financial thing where you had nowhere else to go, a lot of people get themselves into a position where they need to have someone else there because they're scared of being alone. Remove that fear just by doing it. Do it and just prove to yourself that you can do it before you put yourself in another position where you become dependent on someone else. When you become dependent on someone else, you give them power. You gave it to him. He abused it. You can take the pressure off everything if you do that experiment, even if it is just an experiment to spend some time alone and just prove to yourself that you can do it and that you can be happy doing that. It takes so much pressure off of meeting someone else. It takes pressure off of them because you don't need them to be there. It's helpful in so many ways, especially if you've been in an abusive situation before. You are much stronger than you think you are, and someone who is in a position where they're afraid of being alone for X amount of time. I know it's scary, but it is so rewarding to be able to do that and figure out how to do it and have that power. And then if you get into another relationship where you're in this situation where it's less than, where you feel like you deserve better, where you feel like you need to find an exit, it's much easier because you know what to do. You know you can do it. It's not scary anymore. Giving yourself that option of being alone will prevent you from making a lot of less than ideal choices later on.